Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Leaders Dialogue Show. Mr. John Nganga, where is the praise of accountability in leadership?
It's a very important thing to understand.
Yes.
In our time, when I say in our time, I did my Form 4 1971. You could not pass an exam in English without doing Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, yes.
So clever people always quoted Shakespeare.
Yes.
So let me quote him.
Yeah.
He says, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. And so far, hundreds of years later, nobody has proved him wrong.
No.
You can find a very innocent person, very good, understanding, everybody happy with him. Wait until you promote him. And he becomes a manager. And all of a sudden, with his power, he now has issues with where he deals with people. He has issues with how he treats people. It all comes from when you fearize, they can't question you. And if they question you, you can even fire them. Somehow you become like a different person. And you know that thing will not just spoil others. It will give your followers a hard time, but what is worse, it will also spoil you. You start thinking that you are a man and a half. You don't think you are just a man like everybody else. Power corrupts you means power spoils you. And you can start doing things you never imagined. You know, what is even worse? What you used to criticize in your boss, when you become the boss, you do exactly the same things. Following from there then, it means that in any leadership role, if there is no accountability, create it. If you have your own company, you start your own company, and you are running it, of course it's your business, you can do whatever you want with it. Create a board of directors. They don't own shares, but you want somebody who can ask you questions. So you have a board of directors, one share each, so you are still your company, but they are there and they are asking you questions. Every 3 months or so, you come and make a presentation of how your organization is running. The fact that at the back of your mind you know that you answer to somebody makes you think twice before making every decision. In the end, you make better decisions than if you are not accountable to anyone. So we are actually saying then, it will be important to understand that in leadership, you must value people. That's why before info break, we were talking about everybody must be somebody who values themselves and values others. You cannot have good leadership until the leader appreciates the gifts God has given him, but he also appreciates the gifts the followers have. Now, coming to accountability, he therefore, in order to ensure that he treats the people well, he is achieving the objectives of the organization, he should create somebody who can hold him to account. What's accountability? Accountability is having to answer for your actions, being held responsible for your actions. And what you are saying is that accountability or being held to account is good, number one, to you, because it helps you to keep careful, making careful decisions, valuing other people, valuing yourself. Number two, is useful to the organization, because when you make the kind of decisions that will help the organization go forwards, and thirdly, it is useful to the people you work with. The moment you think that these people are my subordinates, I can do with them what I want, nobody can ask me, you start spoiling them, and they are not going to enjoy. You just find people are resigning one after the other, and the real problem is not because you are a bad leader, is that you are not held to account. So accountability is useful. That's why when you have an organization, there will be juniors who report to middle management, there will be middle management who report to top management, there will be top management that reports to the board, and the board has to report to the shareholders. Now you can see everybody is accountable somewhere. Now, and that is something that we need to clearly think about. So create it. Don't allow yourself to ever have a place where you are not answerable to anybody. The same thing with your family. Children may be accountable to their mother is accountable to to the husband, the children are accountable to their father is accountable to the mother. So if you want to beat up your child until you change his joint formula, your wife will tell you, wait a minute, you can't do that.
No.
You need somebody, you need to know your wife, your wife will hold you to account for how you are treating the children. And when you do not allow your wife to hold you to account, then you'll be a father without accountability. And it could create a big problem for the future of that family. For the good of the family, the husband must be held to account, the wife must be held to account, the children must be held to account.
Yes.
Everybody must be held to account.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And now, on matters church and faith, can a secular government be the one we are accounting to?
The pastors are accountable to. I think the key word there is faith. Every organization should be registered according to the law of Kenya.
That's true.
So in as far as registration is concerned, all organizations, whether faith organizations, whether business organizations, must all be registered.
That's true.
They must make returns a requirement of the law. By making the returns, are they holding the IGMs? Who are the leaders? Whether you are a church organization or you are business, all those returns must be made. So up to there, you can hold the organization. And we need to understand, you cannot claim to be a Christian, therefore you cannot be held account by the government. Because Act 13 already says that governments are set up by God. The rulers were created by God. Why did he put them? In order to create order. So how can a church refuse the government to do what God appointed? By the way, in the book, Romans 13 put it very categorically. He said they are servants of God. That the government are servants of God. So therefore, it is important to understand that any church leader, any faith leader must of necessity understand that the scriptures give the government role, and in that role, you should cooperate. But that is as far as it goes. They can kind of hold you to account on behavior and how you relate to the people outside. As for faith, nobody can hold another one to account. In the sense that you are faith with God.
Yes.
So how can you registrate that kind of thing?
No.
That's why I thought it's a very interesting thing when somebody starts saying that they want to be sure that you have a degree in order to be a pastor. Now surely, if the people themselves want to be led by somebody without a degree, who is able to read the Bible, is able to understand the Bible, is able to expound on the Bible, I do not see where the government comes in.
No.
Because faith is not a degree.
It's not a degree.
No. You need to understand there are coin men who have no degrees. But what happens with education is that the cleverer you are, the greater conman you are. So that if you are a conman, you better even be a pastor who is an educated.
Yes.
Because the moment you are educated, you are a conman.
Yes.
You will create a lot of chaos.
That's true.
So you can see people, either they don't understand matters of faith, to be thinking that something will improve.
No.
It is to assume that people are con men because of lack of education.
No.
You cannot, an average person who is not clever cannot be a con man. Who will catch you very early. Your congregation will know you are cheating them.
Yes.
But the real clever people can cheat somebody even educated and you're not even realize. It's a little higher. I didn't notice it.
Yes.
So you need to understand education cannot catch people because who are conmen. So I am saying that there are matters of church organization, faith organizations that must be compliant with the government requirements. When it comes to faith, when it comes to who is a pastor, who is not a pastor, those are, the church has its own rules, and those rules are the ones that will. So what you should be, what the church here, what the government can do, as we have been discussing this issue, it's difficult to, if you are not part of the faith, to be the one to hold others to account. Because if you don't even understand the faith, if somebody says they are praying, what does that mean to you? You cannot expect somebody who is not of the faith to be the one to hold somebody in the faith into account. So like we have said, the government can control the aspects of organization, but the matters of faith, it's number two, we have said that you cannot, for example, even set up educational standards, because when you become a crook, it's not education that makes you a crook, or lack of education makes you not a crook. So we need to understand. So my recommendation is that the government must punish wrong behavior. Don't put up new rules. The normal laws in the country can catch up a pastor who is doing wrong. For example, if, like has happened in the Catholic Church, there's a child that has been molested, that's a criminal offense. If, like has happened in some Protestant churches, that somebody has taken money and used it differently, that's a criminal offense. But to have systems where you are saying this one can be a church, this cannot be a church, or this can be a pastor, not be a pastor, now you are entering into a different thing. You need to follow the normal laws that control organizations, control the church. But on the matters of faith, you leave them to have accountability. But my recommendation to the church itself, there must be accountability. Every pastor must have an elders board to which he is held accountable. Every bishop must have a bishop's board that actually hold him to account. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, on matters accountability, it's important, as our guests have given us insight. Keep forwarding your comments on our Twitter page at Leaders Dialogue Show and our Facebook page at Leaders Dialogue. Tune next Monday. Keep glowing as a leader. Thank you.
We are the new generation. We are the youth of the nation. High in the sky. We are the new generation. Leader. Leader. Leader.